So that went a lot better than I thought. You read the title. What if Rengoku did not open at Tim Hortons? I got this idea from my subscriber. Well, at least I hope he is a subscriber. Hey, if you're watching this, just let me know if you subbed. Now, I could take this two different directions. One would be how the show would make Rengoku survive, and just making him a background character until the Infinity Castle starts, or maybe he most likely becomes Tanjiro's teacher off screen. Either way, he's probably not gonna get time to shine until the Infinity Castle. Or there's another direction I could take, is just making him the main character, which videos like this usually tend to make them. That's also probably why you clicked on this video as well. I will try my best to make like a combination of two, so I don't sound too ridiculous, but also I don't sound like this video is just not about Rengoku. It's basically the same story, but if Rengoku survived. But I've also not tried to make him a background character. Now I could just jump straight in after the fight with Akaza, but I think I do need to explain how Rengoku survived. You see, during the final standoff, Rengoku rushes towards Akaza. Akaza, just before he punches Rengoku, accidentally slips on a rock, causing him to miss his aim, sending the rock flying. Meantime, Rengoku also tripped, causing the punch to aim off its target. They both fall down, they both get up, but just at that moment, the sun starts to rise. So Akaza could not convince Rengoku to open up Tim Hortons and runs away. Which, doing so, unfortunately, the Canadian GDP goes way downhill. Although Rengoku did not die, he is critically injured and can't move much. Luckily, he is saved and taken to the Butterfly Mansion to be healed. Now at the Butterfly Mansion, Tanjiro and Rengoku have a nice chat about sun breathing, since that is what Tanjiro wanted to talk about. Rengoku does not know much about sun breathing, but he knows that his family has a scroll that talks about a mysterious breathing style, which he thought was a legend until now. So he decides to research and read some scrolls on it, but since he cannot move, he needs another demon slayer to go fetch it for him. Just then, Tengen Uzui walks in and is worried for his Nakama. After talking about the event with Upper 3, Rengoku realizes Tengen seems a bit upset. He asks Tengen if everything is okay, to which Tengen says he's fine and he sets off to find the scroll. The reason Tengen was sent was because Shinjiro, Rengoku's father, would not trust a random no-name corpse member with family secrets. And let's just pretend that Shinjiro is a bit happy in this timeline because Rengoku is fine and he fought Upper Moon 3 and survived, which I know he was depressed, but probably help him get out his depression, maybe heal a little bit, since considering the official timeline after Rengoku's death, regret came over him and that kinda will help them get better. Tengen arrives, takes the scrolls and leaves. He delivers to Rengoku, to which Rengoku still asks again if everything is fine. Tengen reveals how his three wives went on a mission a while ago. They were supposed to report last week and no report came in and he's getting worried for them. Tengen leaves and Rengoku is stuck with Tanjiro.
Mr. Giyu? Mr. Giyu! Mr. Giyu? Mr. Giyu!
Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu begin their training, but Rengoku is still injured and he cannot move, so he just spends all day reading the scrolls, learning about sun breathing, explaining it to Tanjiro, and even helping the three-man squad train. Since the Hashira's training is more intense, they would be stronger than the original timeline. And when Rengoku is in bed on his spare time, he does image training, just rethinking about the last fight he had with Akaza, just thinking what moves he could have made, when he slipped up what could he have done to recover, just every detail about the fight. Even though Akaza is a lot stronger and faster than Rengoku, Rengoku always in his image training finds a way to catch up slowly by slowly to him. Things continue as they normally do. Tengen shows up, takes Tanjiro. In this timeline, it's a little bit less sussy, and Rengoku knows about this as well, as he's also at the Butterfly Mansion. Although he hasn't healed completely, he still needs his healing time. He can move and fight, but it's just a lot better if he just stays and heals. Things go as they normally do in the show, until there is a battle with Daki with Tanjiro, in which Tanjiro actually performs a lot better than the original timeline, which he sustains a less injury and he has more energy to keep going. Things go normal, Tengen cuts off Daki's head, Gyutaro appears, things go as normal. Meanwhile, Rengoku is completely healed and decides to run straight to Entertainment District, since he has not received any information. In the original timeline, Obanai was supposed to go there, but in this, Rengoku is. And also in this, Rengoku gets there a lot faster than Obanai. He arrives just in time to save Tanjiro. You know the moment when Tanjiro looks around, Inosuke gets his heart stabbed, Tengen is down, and then Densu gets near him and goes, "Get down, Mr. President!" In this timeline, it's Rengoku who would say that and would save Tanjiro. Rengoku asks about Tengen, to which Gyukuro oh my god, I'm just gonna call him Upper 6. Upper 6 appears and tells him that Tengen is knocked down. So for a temporary moment, it's a 1v1 with Rengoku and Upper 6. Now Rengoku did do training, both mental image training and actual physical training once he got a lot better. But he still did not expect Upper 6 to be this strong. He still has the same helpless feeling as he did when fighting Akaza. He would definitely be a lot better than Tengen in this timeline. Tengen did well because Tengen is just powerful enough to do so, and also because he has poison resistance. In this timeline, Tanjiro tells Rengoku about the poison, to which Rengoku dodges him a lot easier, and it is more of a match for Upper 6. They seem to be on equal level. Upper 6 would only win because he has more stamina, and if the poison ever even touches Rengoku, Rengoku is finished. Daki appears and Tanjiro and Zenitsu fight her. Inosuke gets up and fights Daki as well. Just then, Rengoku slips a little bit. Upper 6 is about to finish him off. Just before he hits him, Tengen appears, blocking the attack. Tengen then reveals that he just needs to slow his heart rate and get the poison out, or at least resist the poison, but now he's back in the fight. He has a sword in his both left and right arm. So yeah, in this timeline, Tengen has his arms. Since Rengoku has his life, I thought it'd be fun to give Tengen his arms. I could do a what if Tengen had his arms, but I think I'm just gonna combine it with what if Rengoku was alive. Both fight Gyutaro. Now it seems to be more on the side of the humans, but since they're both tired, Gyutaro is still able to keep up with them. Tengen unlocks musical score and does his Tengen stuff. Rengoku rushes around the battlefield just looking for opportunity. He grips his sword so tight that he loses consciousness for a second, and Gyutaro notices and jumps at Rengoku. To which Tengen says, "Get down, Mr. President!" Luckily, Rengoku gets his consciousness back, maybe because of the image training, and his instincts kick in. He cuts Gyutaro's arm. Gyutaro screams in pain and agony. He tries to regenerate his arm, but he cannot. The regeneration is very slow. Both Tengen and Rengoku are surprised. Rengoku looks at his sword. He notices it's shining bright red. He doesn't know what this is or what this means, but all he knows is probably a good thing. He rushes at Gyutaro while he's still healing. Gyutaro with one arm blocks his attack. Just then, Tengen appears behind Gyutaro, tries to cut his neck. Gyutaro catches that with his teeth. Rengoku, seeing an opportunity, cuts Upper 6's head. Just at that moment, Tanjiro, Inosuke, and Zenitsu also cut Daki's head, finishing the demon siblings for good. Everyone rejoices, everyone's happy, everyone claps, and they go back to the butterfly mansion to heal. During their training, Tanjiro and Rengoku do some sun breathing exercises. Rengoku decides he wants to learn sun breathing, as that's kind of the reason why his father used to be depressed all the time, especially after losing his wife and realizing he can never achieve a dream because he's not a sun breather. Rengoku decides that he will become one instead. Now, I am not sure how sun breathing works exactly. I think it's only supposed to be like one guy that can use it at a time. I could be wrong. But just for the sake of the video, I'm just gonna have Rengoku learn it, alright? But if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure sun breathing is something everyone can learn. Just that you need to be talented enough to learn it. That's kind of why Yoichi passed down and just made like worse skills than sun breathing, like stone, water, those type breathing. Because the people he was trying to teach sun breathing were just not talented as him. Since flame breathing is the closest to sun breathing, I think Rengoku would be able to learn it, or at the very least try to learn it. During the swordsmith village, Rengoku decides to go with Mitsui just because. Since fighting Gyutaro, his sword kind of just chipped out a little bit and he needs to go repair it. So while staying there, The demons attack, Mitsuri is called back to the village, and since Rengoku is with her, they both fight Upper Moon 4 and Tengu at the same time. In this timeline, it's the same thing as Tanjiro, Nezuko, and Genya fight the main body of Tengu, while Mitsuri and Rengoku fight off Tengu's strongest body. In this timeline, Mitsuri performs a lot better since she has a teammate with her, a teammate that's quite stronger than her actually. And Rengoku, although it's not a walk in the park for him, he is having a hard time, and there are many occasions where Mitsuri has to save him, and he has to save her. Eventually, the fighting gets so intense that his body starts heating up. He feels this pressure on him, this wave of dizziness, and as he's fighting, he notices his strength has increased, he has more stamina, and he just has better capabilities than before. And same thing with Mitsuri. When he looks over at her, he notices that she has a weird mark around her. He then realizes he too has a mark around him as well, which is the reason why he's feeling what he is. Then the battle becomes on their side as they're able to decapitate Tengu. When they're about to sit down and rest, they realize Tengu gets back up and keeps fighting. That's because Tengu's main body needs to be cut, so until that happens, they have to keep fighting him for much longer as they possibly could. Eventually, they get to the point where Tanjiro cuts Tengu's neck and everyone is saved. A Hashira meeting is called, in which Mitsuri, Mujiro, and Rengoku talk about the Demon Slayer mark and how they unlocked it. They come to a conclusion where the body needs to be at a certain temperature and a certain strength to achieve it. They make a training plan in the hopes of having other Demon Slayer members and even Hashiras unlock a mark as well, so they have a better chance against Muzan. In this training arc, every Hashira except for Giyu has their own training ritual they make every member do. For Rengoku, it would be meditation with image training. For the most intense fight every member had with a demon, they would go back to it and just imagine how they would do with the knowledge they have now and just what they would do at the time and what time they would strike and what time they would dodge. Or as my friends would like to call it, just playing Elden Ring. Eventually, Muzan shows up and they all fall through the castle, and now the Infinity Castle begins. Now, in the Infinity Castle arc, every Demon Slayer has their own demon they fight. I was thinking who should I put Rengoku against. Maybe the timeline goes as normal until the castle breaks apart, he fights Muzan, kind of like how Obanai and Mitsuri did. But I think it would be most interesting to put Tengen and Rengoku against Doma. Both Rengoku and Tengen go door to door fighting whatever demon they can find in the hopes of finding Muzan or Upper Moon. Eventually, they hear two people fighting and they open the door and they see Shinobu just before she gets devoured. Tengen quickly rushes, grabs Shinobu out the way. Doma, being fast enough to counter Tengen, gets blocked by Rengoku as Rengoku pushes him away. Rengoku and Tengen are glad they saved Shinobu in time, but Shinobu is injured and cannot move that well. They decide to tell her to just rest while they take on Doma. Shinobu agrees. Although she wants to take revenge, she knows that she'll just be getting in the way of Tengen and Rengoku. Doma is really angry as he is about to finish his meal and could not because of two random guys that just walked in. He gets up and immediately the fight begins. Doma seems to be an equal match for both Rengoku and Tengen, both exchanging blows, blocking each other's attacks, and be able to just hit each other. Tengen and Rengoku have a clear advantage as it's a 2v1, but Tengen senses something is off. He has noticed that demon has not revealed his ability. He knows that every demon has one, but why hasn't this demon used it, even though it's clearly at a disadvantage? For Doma, this is just a fun little sparring match. He's not even trying his best, both physically or by using his ability. Rengoku decides he has enough. He unlocks the red blade with the mark and he jumps at Doma. Although Doma's guard was down, he was able to move quickly enough to dodge his attack, but it cut off Doma's arm. Doma thinks this is not a problem, Rengoku has gone only faster, but then he realized something. His arm is not healing that fast. It is really slow. And the first time in Doma's life he experiences fear. Just then, Kanao appears. She sees Shinobu bleeding out. He rushes towards her, patching her up and getting ready to join the fight. Just when she gets up to join, Inosuke appears. Doma realizes he cannot be playing anymore and that his life is in danger. He then reveals his ability, creating ice clones and ice particles everywhere, causing both Inosuke and Kanao to take lung damage, I guess. Even Tengen's having a hard time using his ability as he cannot breathe properly with the ice particles. Now, I kinda didn't know what to do here because Rengoku has flame abilities, right? But the thing is that the breathing styles in the show are not real, so it doesn't even matter. Like, I don't know why the authors made that statement. It kind of ruins the immersiveness of the show, but whatever. However, Rengoku seems to be a bit immune to the ice particle. Now you might be thinking why that is. That's because we know that the body temperature to have a demon set mark is like very high. It's really hot. Now it's not clear if it's the body needs to be at a certain temperature to gain the mark, but I personally think it's the other way around. Like once you have the mark, the body reaches a certain temperature, and that would kind of just melt the ice inside of him and just keep him warm. Bit of a stretch, but it works. Doma unleashes many ice clones of himself, but to his surprise, they all get one-shotted by Tengen and Rengoku. Now, the Doma's clones are as strong as actual Doma's body, but thing is, the demons in the show are like kind of weak, as even like Zenitsu is able to cut Muzan, as even Amanai, being the second weakest member, is able to cut through Muzan's neck. So if the ice clones are durable as Doma, they're getting shattered by Rengoku and Tengen with a single attack, especially by Tengen, because every time he hits something it causes like a mini explosion. And I know they don't actually cause an explosion, it's just that he hits that hard, which kind of just supports this whole idea. But the point of the clones is not to kill the demons, is to distract them and keep them fighting while Doma recovers his arm. Slowly and slowly, Tengen and Rengoku get closer and closer to Doma. Doma creating more and more ice clones does not really help him much, but it does help him enough. Doma then regenerates his arm and leg, and he knows the danger he is in. Rengoku is completely immune to the ice particles, as well as a single strike from Rengoku's red blade would be lethal to him, as he would not be able to regenerate that fast, which would increase the chances of Rengoku cutting off Doma's neck. So now Doma is going full out. Rengoku, just before he reaches Doma, realizes that Doma has just escaped his attack and he has jumped behind him. Although it was very fast, both Inosuke, Kanao, and even Tengen could not keep his speed. Rengoku was. He quickly looks back and is horrified at what he has seen. Doma has given Inosuke a Tim Hortons contract. Inosuke must now work minimum wage in Canada. Tengen, seeing this, gets angry, while Rengoku is just stunned and thinking about all the good times he had with Inosuke. Inosuke falls to the ground and dies. Listen, it can't be all fun and games, alright? I need to stop killing off people. Tengen rushes at Doma. Doma, seeing a chance to kill Tengen, waits for him to get closer. Just before he strikes, Tengen dodges, as Tengen, for the musical scores, basically has Ultra Instincts. He notices that Tengen also has those weird markings that Rengoku has, as well as his blade is now shining bright red. Rengoku snaps back into reality, tells Kanao to take Shinobu and leave, as the fight here is going to be super intense and she might not be able to keep up and just get caught up in the middle. Kanao agrees and takes Shinobu away. Round 2 starts with Doma versus Tengen and Rengoku. Both sides seem to be equally matched. Doma sending out his ice clone for distractions. Even though they get destroyed by a single hit, it is still worth it to keep them at least occupied. Every strike Doma does gets blocked by either Tengen or Rengoku, and then a counter strike by either Tengen or Rengoku. But Doma knows that he is not going to win, and his ice particles are not going to freeze them either. His only chance is to keep the fight prolonged to the point where humans lose out their stamina. Tengen and Rengoku, knowing this, they do their absolute best to kill Doma. They get close, but they're only able to cut his arm or leg, which does take time for Doma to heal. But because of his ice clones, Tengen and Rengoku are occupied fighting them. Eventually, the tides change. Rengoku and Tengen seem to be getting slower and slower as their breath gets heavier and heavier, and their injuries become greater and greater. With every passing second, things are going in Doma's favor. Eventually, Tengen and Rengoku go from offensive are now on the defensive. It's now Doma is the one attacking them, and they're trying their best to defend themselves. But with each passing second, Tengen and Rengoku get weaker and weaker, while Doma just gets happier and happier. It gets to the point where Tengen and Rengoku can't even react to Doma anymore. Doma realizes he has won. Doma reverts back to his cocky self, back to his playing around mode. Eventually, Tengen collapses, but not unconscious, while Rengoku right beside him kneels to the ground, out of fatigue. Doma gets in front of Rengoku and just stares at him, thinking how scared he was a moment ago as Rengoku was about to kill him. But now, the tables have turned. He raises his hand up in the air, holding his fan, positioned in a way where it mimics a slashing sword, mocking the demon slayers, as that's how they cut off the head of demons. The staring continues what it feels like hours. Rengoku looks at Doma a bit too intensely, and he sees a whole new world. He notices he can see Doma's muscles, fiber, and tissues as well as bones. He doesn't know what this is. All he knows as this is his final chance. Just before Doma strikes Rengoku, Rengoku sees Doma going in slow motion, and then Rengoku with last bit of energy uses his 9th form, Rengoku. Just in a moment, Rengoku is 20 feet away from Doma, and Doma realizes his neck and body are not connected anymore. Rengoku, looking back, sees Doma's head flying into the air. Rengoku finally collapses from exhaustion, while Tengen is shocked by what he's seeing. Tengen, although very happy, cannot get up as he is too tired. He starts to celebrate and call out Rengoku, knowing that he is unconscious, thinking how he thought he was going to die and he will not make it back to his wives. He starts to relax, with fatigue kinda just leaving the body, just lowering all his guards. And then, he sees Doma getting up. He is shocked and confused on how Doma can get up. He sees Doma's head slowly regenerating. Realizes this is exactly what Muzan did. And now, a new problem. Rengoku is knocked out, while Tengen is too fatigued to even move and fight. Doma recovers his head, starts laughing. This time, he's not going to get cocky at all. He walks over to Tengen, and just before he strikes, two shadows attack him from the side, pushing him away. He gets angry and annoyed, and he sees it's Kanao and Shinobu. They have returned. You see, Kanao went away with Shinobu, but in reality, they were observing the battle from far away. As they're demon slayers, they knew what they signed up for. If they can't even fight Upper Moon 2 Doma and run away, how are they going to fight Muzan? Although Tengen and Rengoku are a lot stronger than Kanao and Shinobu and Kanao will not give up without a fight. Fortunately for them, Doma is moving a lot slower than before. As Doma healed his head, that took a lot of energy out of him, and he's also near fatigue level. Because he's a demon, him being fatigued still has more energy than Kanao and Shinobu at their 100%. However, Shinobu and Kanao are able to keep up with him. Kanao being able to cut off his arms and legs, to which they regenerate instantly, and Shinobu poking him time to time. He knows that his life is still in danger as Shinobu's poison, although not being enough to kill him, do weaken him slowly, especially considering that Doma does not have the same energy as before. His body is going to have a hard time fighting it off, and the more poison in the system means the slower he gets, and the weaker he gets. Eventually, Doma gets slower and slower, breathing heavier and heavier, and his healing gets slower and slower. He realizes something. This is exactly what Tengen and Rengoku were feeling before. Just a sense of helplessness and just despair. Eventually, it gets to the point where Kanao is able to cut off his head, and this time, he does not regenerate and dies for good. After Doma is dead, everyone starts celebrating, but they also mourn for Inosuke's death. Eventually, Rengoku gets up, they all decide to recover their injuries and rest. While they are doing so, the entire castle breaks. They get the news that Akaza has died, killed by Tanjiro and Giyu, while Kokushibo has been killed by Genya, Saname, Michiro, and Gyome. But unfortunately, Genya and Michiro passed away. The fight with Muzan is intense. Gyu, Obanai, Saname, Gyome, Rengoku, Tengen, all are fighting Muzan. Mitsuri gets injured just like in the canon and needs to be removed from the battlefield. In this timeline, Rengoku and Tengen are a bit stronger than Saname and Gyu. In their skill level, Rengoku is same as Gyome because of his see-through world and the red blade. Seeing the red blades of Rengoku and Tengen, every other Hashira unlocked the red blade as well, like Gyu and Saname clashing with each other and Gyome hitting his axe and ball. Rengoku also sees the many hearts of Muzan. Tengen, because of his great eyesight, decides to focus, and he can also see the see-through world. Things are not looking good for Muzan. As the red blades lower his regeneration, Shinobu's poison gets added onto the poison he already has, and with Kanal's reaction speed, she's able to dodge his attacks, while another hot stroke just cuts off whatever limbs is thrown at them. Eventually, Muzan does his Scorched Earth tactic where he just waves his arms around, destroying whatever's there. Unfortunately, Rengoku and Tengen also get hit, causing Rengoku to go unconscious again. Muzan runs away, which is then caught by Tanjiro and Obanai. Rengoku then awakens. You remember seeing Muzan just waving his arms back and forth and just destroying everything around him. He quickly gets up and he sees something. Tengen, when the strike happened, was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And now, he has to become a Na-eyed Wind. Slowly bleeding to death, his mind wandering off to the times that he had with his wives, wishing how he could be with them. Rengoku sees Gyome's missing leg, Gyu's missing arm, and even Shinobu was caught up. And because of how frail she was already before, she's also killed in the strike. Rengoku rushes towards Tengen. Tengen, with a little bit of consciousness left, looks at Rengoku and utters his final words. "Delete my internet browsing history." Tengen feels a wave of emotions. Two of his best friends has died just before his eyes, and other of his friends are missing their limb. He feels sadness, he feels anger, he feels revenge.
Today I feel Qatari. Today I feel Arab. Today I feel African. Today I feel gay.
He feels all sorts of emotions inside of him, and then, hit with dead calm, he feels nothing. He looks towards Muzan's direction, sees Obanai and Tanjiro fighting, doing their best to keep him in the sunlight. Rengoku rushes towards Muzan. However, Muzan does not realize he's there. In fact, nobody does. When Rengoku goes there, cuts off one of Muzan's arms. Even then, Muzan can barely sense him. All he sees is a man with no expression on his face. Muzan attacks, but Rengoku dodges every time. He seems a lot faster than before. Tanjiro, seeing this, has a flashback to a time when his father took him outside and they killed a bear. Tanjiro, seeing Rengoku like this, knows that Rengoku has unlocked the selfless state. And then he sees something truly amazing. Rengoku uttering these words, "Hino Kami Kagura." I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. I am just a weeb after all. Red flames appears from Rengoku's blade. With every strike, a wave of red fire. Now, I know the red flames are not real. Now just imagine us as the audience watching the show and then we see red flames emerging, right? Like, we know what's up. He has unlocked sun breathing. It's now a 1v1 with Muzan and Rengoku. Rengoku having every power in the Demon Slayer world. The Red Blade, the See-Through World, Selfless Day, the Demon Slayer Mark, and Sun Breathing, all at once. He becomes the king of the What If storylines. And you know what? Let's do it. He also unlocks Super Saiyan. He opens his eyes, revealing the Renegon, and reveals that he too is a Dragon Slayer. The fight is intense. Tanjiro, Obanai eventually joining in, along with the rest of the Demon Slayer Corps. The sunrise is just around the corner, and all they need to do is hold off Muzan until then. Muzan turns into a giant baby, if he wasn't one already. Tries to bury himself underground. Gyome appears, wraps his chains around him, while Rengoku does his very best to cut off his arm so he can't dig anymore. Eventually, Gyome's chains break, and so does Rengoku's sword. Kanao, seeing that Rengoku has broken his blade, gives him his own, as he is a much better fighter than she'll ever be. Although her sword is strong, it's not as strong as Rengoku's blade. Eventually, the sun finally comes out, killing Muzan once and for all. Muzan's body slowly disappears into the wind. Gyu and Rengoku, looking back at Tanjiro, realize something. Tanjiro is dead. Saname passes out. Zenitsu passes. No, we need him in the storyline, so my bad. Everything is good. Everyone starts celebrating. Just then, Rengoku's sixth sense awakens, and he realizes something is off again. He sees Tanjiro trying to swipe at the doctor near. What do you call those things again? Rengoku sees Tanjiro trying to swipe at a Kakushi. Rengoku, although too tired to move, does his very best to stop Tanjiro. Everyone realizes that Tanjiro has become a demon. Tanjiro leaps at everyone like a wild animal, seeing food for the first time. Rengoku and Gyu do their very best to keep him off, however they cannot land the finishing blow, as every time they try, memories of Tanjiro appear. Eventually, Nezuko joins. She hugs Tanjiro and begs him to stop. Kanao appears with a medicine. Rengoku and Gyu both jump at Tanjiro, holding him down to prevent him from escaping or causing further harm to Nezuko. Zenitsu, although scared, also joins them, and he gets bitten. Kanao injects the medicine into Tanjiro, turning him back into a human. Zenitsu, however, is freaking out, thinking that he's going to become the next Demon King. After everything is settled, everyone makes sure that there's no other sixth sense kicking in, there isn't anyone that's turning into demons. They realize everything is fine. The battle, the war, has actually come to an end. Muzan is defeated. The Demon Slayers have won. Tanjiro coming to terms with the fact that he bit his own sister and his best friend, coming to know that Inosuke has passed away, while Sanemi, Gyu, and Rengoku are the only Hashiras that have survived. The Hashiras get disbanded, and everyone lives happily ever after. Gyu, Sanemi, and Rengoku spend their times together, they get married and have children. Eventually, time moves on, and they reach the modern era, where some idiot is making a video about what if Rengoku never died. But as for Rengoku, he would be remembered as a legend, and Canada's GDP would be much lower without Tim Hortons. Anyway, I don't know how to do it. Anyway, thank you for watching. This concludes the video. This is my first what if I have ever done, ever. Watching anime, people like to theorize to themselves who is the strongest, who is the weakest, like my last video ranking the Hashiras. But I have never thought of a what if scenario, nor do I know how to narrate one. If you have made it this far into the video, please do let me know that you watched it, and just let me know what you want to see more into the future. Honestly, with Rengoku surviving, the story kinda does not change that much. Now, I could have just gone this the actual way how the show would have done it, but because I am the author now, Tengen, maybe he would have survived as well, because the show would not want to kill him off at the last second. But I decided it was kind of boring just having every character live. At first, I thought I was going to give him the main character status, everyone lives happily ever after, he unlocks all the powers, but then I was like, maybe I should just kill off at least 3 people. I know that not everyone is gonna like this one. If you are critical of this, sorry, it is my first time thinking of scenarios like this. I just thought it was a pretty cool idea because of one commenter. I do have more videos planned and in mind. Sorry for uploading so late, I just get really lazy. Still don't really know how to do much of an outro. I hope my grammar was on point. Thank you so much for watching and have a good day. Bye.